Hari Hari Bol, everybody. Welcome to Bhaktiville. Here we are. We have quite a few people here. We have Shell Corleone. Welcome. Candita is here. Bhaktimimulus is here. Our friend Greece is not here, so we're missing him, but I'm sure we'll see him next week. So here we are. Welcome to Bhaktiville. Tonight we'll be reading from Nectar of Devotion, but before we do, though, I want to recognize that today is the day we remember the passing of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. He brought us these wonderful books that we read here in Bhaktiville, books that continue to demonstrate the depth of his love for Krishna and Krishna's love for us. He brought us this wonderful philosophy, rich with beauty, nuance, and passion, and he brought us Krishna. And for that, we are eternally grateful. So, I offer my respectful obeisances under His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Excuse me. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Dev and delivering the Western countries which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord here in Bhaktiville, who are listening, and Vaishnavas around the world and the universe. They are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone. And they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. That's us. So let's continue our reading and discussion tonight of Nectar of Devotion. We're on page 130 of the book, or page 166 of the PDF. So I just want to follow up. We had some homework last week about whether Kunti, what rasa Queen Kunti is in. Did anyone come up, find anything? Kandita, did you find anything? Bhakti, did you find anything? Kandita, I think your microphone is on. Okay. Oh, you both get Fs. Bhakti says he forgot to. That's okay. I found it. No, I found it. So in this book that we have here, in chapter 43 on parenthood, Srila Prabhupada gives a list. He says, following is a list of respectful personalities who enjoy parental affection towards Sri Krishna. 1. Mother Yashoda, the Queen of Braj, of course. 2. Maharaj Nanda, the King of Braj. 3. Mother Rohini, the mother of Balaram. 4. All the elderly gopis whose sons were taken away by Lord Brahma. 5. Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. 6. The other 15 wives of Vasudeva. 7. Kunti, the mother of Arjuna. 8. Vasudeva. Yep, there she is. 8. Vasudeva, the real father of Krishna. And 9. Sandapani Muni, Krishna's teacher. All these are considered respectable elderly personalities with parental love for Krishna. This list is in order of superior importance, and thus we can see that Mother Yashoda and Maharaj Nanda are considered to be the supermost of all elderly personalities. So I think the thing that threw us off last week and continues to throw me off is that she knows that Krishna is God, and most of those in parental affection don't know that. So I'm hoping that when we get to chapter 43, we will understand that subject more thoroughly. So I'm going to back up a little bit. We're going to start on page 130 so that we review a little bit of what we read last week. So page 130 in the book, second paragraph. He's discussing conjugal love for Krishna. This development of conjugal love for Krishna is not manifested in women only. The material body has nothing to do with spiritual loving affairs. A woman may develop an attitude for becoming a friend of Krishna, and similarly, a man may develop the feature of becoming a gopi in Vrindavan. How a devotee in the form of a man can desire to become a gopi is stated in the Padma Purana as follows, quote, "In days gone by, there were many sages in Dandakaranya. Dandakaranya is the name of the forest where Lord Ramachandra lived after being banished by his father for 14 years. At that time, there were many advanced sages who were captivated by the beauty of Lord Ramachandra and who desired to become women in order to embrace the Lord. Later on, these sages appeared in Goloka Vrindavan when Krishna advented himself there, and they were born as gopis or girlfriends of Krishna. In this way, they attained the perfection of spiritual life." End quote. The story of the sages of Dandakaranya can be explained as follows. When Lord Ramachandra was residing in Dandakaranya, the sages who were engaged in devotional service there became attracted by his beauty and immediately thought of the gopis at Vrindavan who enjoyed conjugal loving affection with Krishna. In this instance, it is clear that the sages of Dandakaranya desired conjugal love in the manner of the gopis, although they were well aware of the Supreme Lord as both Krishna and Lord Ramachandra. They knew that Ramachandra was an ideal king and could not accept more than one wife. But Lord Krishna, being the full-fledged personality of Godhead, could fulfill the desires of all of them in Vrindavan. These sages also concluded that the form of Lord Krishna is more attractive than that of Lord Ramachandra, and so they prayed to become gopis in their future lives to be associated with Krishna. Lord Ramachandra remained silent, and his silence shows that he accepted the prayers of the sages. Thus they were blessed by Lord Ramachandra to have association with Lord Krishna in their future lives. As a result of this benediction, they all took birth as women in the wombs of gopis at Gokula, and as they had desired in their previous lives, they enjoyed the company of Lord Krishna, who was present at that time in Gokula Vrindavan. The perfection of their human form of life was thus achieved by their generating a transcendental sentiment to share conjugal love with Lord Krishna. Conjugal love is divided into two classifications, namely conjugal love as husband and wife, and conjugal love as lover and beloved. One who develops conjugal love for Krishna as a wife is promoted to Dwarka, where the devotee becomes the queen of the Lord. Those who develop conjugal love for Krishna as a lover are promoted to Goloka Vrindavan, to associate with the gopis and enjoy loving affairs with Krishna there. We should note carefully, however, that this conjugal love for Krishna, either as gopi or queen, is not limited only to women. Even men can develop such sentiments, as was evidenced by the sages of Dandakaranya. If someone simply desires conjugal love, but does not follow in the footsteps of the gopis, he is promoted to association with the Lord at Dwarka. In the Mahakurma Purana, it is stated, quote, "Great sages, who were the sons of the fire gods, rigidly followed the regulative principles in their desire to have conjugal love for Krishna. As such, in their next lives, they were able to associate with the Lord and the origin of all creation, who is known as Vasudeva or Krishna. Every one of them got him as their husband." End quote. Next section, parenthood or friendship. Devotees who are attracted. Yes, please. Mm-hmm. Yes. It was the third sentence. A woman may develop an attitude for becoming a friend of Krishna, and similarly, a man may develop the feature of becoming a gopi in Vrindavan. So he's saying a woman can develop a friendship as a boy with Krishna, and that a man can develop a relationship as a girl with Krishna, as a gopi. So the gopas and the gopis. But he's not saying that they would do that in that body, that they would take another. But I think that this really speaks to our external and internal um, visions. How people see us. So externally, we should always present as a neophyte devotee, but internally, we have our own relationship with Krishna that has absolutely nothing to do with our body and nothing to do with anybody else in the world. It's completely private. And so a man who has like the sages at Dandakaranya, they would meditate as that, as a gopi with Krishna. But externally, they would be sages, doing their thing in the forest, whatever that is. So, you're welcome. All right. Parenthood or friendship. Oh, I'm sorry, you couldn't hear the question. So her question was that there was something, Prabhupada said something about relationship with Krishna as a friend. And where was that? So that was the third sentence of that first paragraph that I read on page 130. Okay. Yes, my answer explained the question. All right. Sorry, I didn't look up to see that you had written something. All right. Next section on parenthood or friendship. Devotees who are attracted to Krishna as parents or as friends should follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj or Subal, respectively. Nanda Maharaj is the foster father of Krishna, and out of all the friends of Krishna, Subal is the most intimate in Brajabhumi. Sorry? Okay. That's okay, no problem. So, in the development of becoming either the father or friend of the Lord, there are two varieties. One method is that one may try to become the father of the Lord directly, and the other is that one may follow Nanda Maharaj and cherish the ideal of becoming Krishna's father. Out of these two, the attempt to directly become the father of Krishna is not recommended. Such a development can become polluted with Mayavada or impersonal philosophy. The Mayavadis or monas think that they themselves are Krishna, and if one thinks that he himself has become Nanda Maharaj, then his parental love will become contaminated with the Mayavada philosophy. The Mayavada philosophy way of thinking is offensive, and no offender can enter into the kingdom of God to associate with Krishna. So here I just want to say Srila Prabhupada is alluding to this idea that we should, if we aspire toward a particular relationship, that we should take shelter of someone who is already in that relationship with Krishna. So he's saying that it's best to may follow Nanda Maharaj and cherish the ideal of being Krishna's father. So he's alluding to that idea there, that we should take shelter of them, whoever that is. whether it's a Saka or a Saki, Gopi, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, Jatila, whoever you aspire, however you envision your relationship with Krishna, then take shelter of that person who is already displaying that relationship. All right, back to the book. In the Skanda Purana, there is a story of an old man residing in Hastinapur, capital of the kingdom of the Pandus, who desired Krishna as his beloved son. So Hastinapur is Delhi, geographically. This old man was instructed by Narada to follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj, and thus success was achieved by him. I don't know that story. I'll have to look for it. There is a statement in the Narayana Vyuhastava prayers that persons who are always engaged in thinking of the Lord as their husband, friend, father, or well-wisher are always worshipable by everyone. This spontaneous love for Krishna can only be developed by the special mercy of Krishna or his pure devotee. This process of devotional service is sometimes called Pushti Marg. Pushti means nourishing and Marg means path. Such development of sentiment nourishes devotional service to the highest standard. Thus, it is called the path of nourishment or Pushti Marg. The Ballabha Sampradaya, which belongs to the Vishnu Swami sect of Vaishnava religion, worships Krishna in this Pushti Marg. Generally, devotees in Gujarat worship Bala Krishna under this heading of Pushti Marg. So when I joined Second Life, they only had certain names you could choose as a last name. So Lane was one of them, which means same as path. And I thought, oh, Dasi, I'll be the path of the servant. So here I am, Dasi Lane, 16 years later. All right, chapter 17, Ecstatic Love. By the process of executing regulated devotional service, one is actually elevated onto the transcendental stage, beyond the material modes of nature. At that time, one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far above the planetary systems, and there is no possibility of it being covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when a devotee is purified like the sun, from his pure heart there is a diffusion of ecstatic love, which is more glorious than the sunshine. Only at that time is the attachment to Krishna perfect. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in his ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttama Adhikari, perfect devotion. Such a devotee has no agitation for material affections and is only interested in the service of Radha and Krishna. Bhakti says, I never heard you say that before. About my name, Dasi Lane? Yeah, no, that's how it happened. That's how I wanted it to be, something like Bhakti Marg or something, but Marg was not a choice. So, Lane. Dasi Lane, here I am. All right. To clarify, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service were explained along with instructions as to how they can be executed with our present senses, gradually rising to the platform of ecstasy of spontaneous love. The two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles and through spontaneous love, were discussed. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. This effective portion of devotional service is called bhava, or ecstasy. In this connection, there is a statement in the Tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love for the personality of Godhead, and in that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. Not always are these symptoms manifest, but occasionally. When King Ambarisha was put into difficulty by Durvasa, he began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus there were some changes in his body, and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and the shedding of tears. After the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and continuation of the ecstasy is called samadhi. The stage of appreciation becomes the cause of future exchanges of loving affairs with Krishna. Bhakti says that he chose Mimulus as a flower, and that's why he picked that one. Bhakti Mimulus, that's nice. Elevation to this stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is constant association with pure devotees. The other way is by the special mercy of Krishna, or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. Elevation to the ecstatic stage of life is generally attained through association with pure devotees, while elevation to that stage by the special mercy of Krishna or his devotees is very rare. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees, so that there will be certainty in raising oneself to that ecstatic position. In special cases, of course, there is special favor from Krishna, and although we should always expect that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when, sometimes, it is found that a person who never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or an honorary degree from great universities may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and expect to automatically receive an honorary degree from some university. Similarly, one should devoutly execute the regulative principles of devotional service, and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or for his devotees' favor. An example of rising to the stage of ecstatic love by executing the regulative principles of devotional service is given in the life of Narada, which is described to Vyasadeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Narada tells there of his previous life and how he developed to the stage of ecstatic love. He was engaged in the service of great devotees and used to hear their talks and songs. Because he had the opportunity to hear these pastimes and songs of Krishna from the mouths of pure devotees, he became very attracted within his heart. Because he had become so eager to hear these topics, he gradually developed within himself an ecstatic love for Krishna. This ecstatic love is prior to the pure love of Krishna, because in the next verse, Narada confirms that by the gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. In that connection, Narada continues to say in the first canto, 5th chapter, 28th verse of the Bhagavatam. First I passed my days in the association of the great sages during the rainy autumn season. Every morning and evening, I heard them while they were singing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and thus gradually my heart became purified. As soon as I heard them with great attention, the influence of the modes of material ignorance and passion disappeared, and I became firmly fixed in devotional service to the Lord. These are practical examples of how one can develop to the stage of ecstatic love simply by the association of pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged morning and evening in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one will get the chance to purify his heart and develop this ecstatic pure love for Krishna. This statement is also confirmed in the 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 22nd verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says, quote, My dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my devotional service can be experienced. End quote. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words act upon the hearts of the audience. What is the secret of hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the hearts of the listeners. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of the Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One should, therefore, seek the association of such unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Padma Purana, there is a story of a neophyte devotee who, in order to raise himself to the ecstatic platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon him. Sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional process, one all of a sudden develops devotion for Lord Krishna. This sudden development of the devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or of his devotee. This apparently accidental development of ecstatic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes. In the Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narada, quote, "O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness." End quote. In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love towards Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, quote, "When the inhabitants of Jangala province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him." As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Shuka Samhita where Narada tells Srila Vyasadeva, quote, "You have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead, and I can observe that without any following of the regulative principles of devotional service, he is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many, many births." End quote. As for ecstatic love of Krishna, there is a statement in the 7th canto, 4th chapter, 26th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narada addresses King Yudhishthira. Quote, "My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlad. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna, and whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe." End quote. This means Narada himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlad's ecstatic love was by the grace of Lord Krishna. We're at the end of our time, but I'm going to finish this chapter off. Bhaktiville has something. It must have been interesting for Prabhupada to watch all of his disciples. He knew what they were going to experience. Yes, I would think that would be interesting to watch also. This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narada. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narada about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narada was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instructions. Because Narada, an authorized devotee and great associate of the personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, he developed all the characteristics of a high-grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead, or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narada. There is a statement in the Skanda Purana wherein Parvata Muni tells Narada, quote, "My dear Narada, of all saintly persons, you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes, a low-born hunter also has become a great, elevated devotee of Lord Krishna." This ecstatic love for Krishna can be divided into 5 divisions, which will be described by Srila Rupa Goswami later on. I just want to say a couple of things. Yes, Kandita, what are you saying yes to? Yes. Yes, emphatically agreeing. I just wanted to say something about association with pure devotees. So, we're so, it's not always easy to find, especially here where, I don't know where Shell lives, but here in America, not always so easy to find. So, but there are all the books. The books are written by these pure devotees, and these are their words and their presence and their personalities come through in what they've written. I remember the first time I read something by Bhaktisiddhanta, I was shocked. I was like, should I be reading this? This just sounds so completely different. And then I thought, well, of course I can read this. This is his guru. Of course, this is so wonderful. And it was just so completely different. So we have the opportunity to associate with these different pure devotees, these different personalities. Oh, you're in Arkansas. Yes, hard to find. But we have the opportunity to associate with these people. And the other thing is that when we are chanting and thinking about Krishna, Krishna is never without all of his associates and his friends and the devotees and the demigods. So we're chanting and the room is filled with all of these other personalities. So there's never an opportunity, or there's never a time when we're not in the presence of these pure devotees when we're chanting and reading and remembering. So just keep that in mind, that we are not bereft of this particular aspect of devotional service. We are in it. We're in the middle of it. So, any other comments? Questions? No? All right. Well, as always, thank you for coming. All glories be true. Bye. Please. Yeah, thank you. Nice. Right. Shell has a question for you. Did you feel a stronger connection to his message and books after seeing him in person, Kandita, or the same since it was so consistent? Mm. Nice.
With the artists, I was in the BBT art department, and on his last day in Los Angeles, I got to go upstairs to his quarters with the other artists, and we got to show him our paintings or what we were currently working on, and and he would critique them, and see what's bona fide or not, different points like that. Um, but even still, it was just like, these were just details, but everything he did was just so purely Krishna conscious. It was just mind blowing. So
And I think we
that's all I'd
also,
like to add.
thank you. Thank you. And I think we're also really blessed by having these videos of Prabhupada giving class.
Yes,
You watch on
yes,
YouTube or listen. If there was just audio, you can listen on Vanapedia. Um, and, I saw Prabhupada a lot, although I didn't talk to him much. And I was always impressed by how small he was and how quiet he was and how humble he was, but just so infused with, you know, this tradition of bhakti yoga and the depth of his knowledge. And like I said earlier, the depth of his love for Krishna. So, anyway, so yeah, sing. All right. Anything else? Bhakti says, oh, the one today, I love that video. You're welcome, Michelle. Which video? Oh, Japa this morning. So Bhakti and I go to this Japa group with Manjari, the singer, Manjari Dasi, the singer, and Vasanti every Friday morning at 6:30 my time, which would be way too early for you, Kandita, but it's 9:30 her time. And she gives a couple of verses, and then there are videos of Prabhupada, or Parikrama. Today we've been visiting Govardhan, but today, which video was it that you liked this morning, Bhakti? The one of him chanting in his quarters, where he's kind of walking back and forth? No, which one was it that you liked? Oh, the one with all the garlands. Yeah, so it looked like he was in Bombay and up on the rooftop there. And all these children came in with garlands, and he just had like 10 garlands up to his ears with champak flowers. Um, and then then he would take them off and directed this one little boy to give them to different people who were sitting around him, to watch him walk or express with his hands. He was very delicate. Yes, he was very delicate, very expressive with his hands, and very regal. I always thought he was regal. So we're very fortunate to have those available for us too. All right, anything else? Nice nice memories.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Good to see you all. I think we're going to be changing our Sunday program from Nectar of Devotion to those 1,000 essential verses that Bhaktiville Thakur put together, Arkamala.
What is that? What is?
So
we're switching from Nectar Devotion?
Well, no, on Sundays, Sunday morning. No, it's just me and Bhakti coming on Sunday.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
So we're going to switch to that compilation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur of the 1,000 essential verses. And we'll do 7 each Sunday, however long that takes. We'll do 7 on Sunday. So we'll do 7 of those starting this Sunday, 10 o'clock, Second Lifetime. What did I say? Did I say 10 o'clock? Is that what time it is, Bhakti? 10 o'clock? You're welcome, Shell. Good to see you. Please come back.
Hare Krishna, Shell.
Bhakti, did we say 10 o'clock on Sundays? 10 o'clock I have in mind. 10 o'clock on Sundays. Yes, okay, 10 o'clock on Sundays, our time, Second Lifetime. And so we'll start that. I have a PDF copy that we'll make available, and we'll start pushing through that. It should be fun. 7 p.m. on Tuesday for Bhagavad Gita. And I'm going to get Priyananda's study guide for Bhagavad Gita and hope that helps us in some systematic perspective on Bhagavad Gita. All right, my friends, so good to see you both. And Shal, who's now gone, but good to see you all. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada, who made this all.
Jai.